Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another Facebook Live video. Love Wisdom, weekly Love Wisdom video live. And have you ever wondered why you find yourself in certain situations, in certain relationships? And this could be any kind of relationship. It could be an unfulfilling relationship, unhealthy, or situation. And you find yourself in this repetitive pattern at times, or perhaps you haven't even been realized it yourself yet, and are beginning or in a breakthrough of a waking up process of becoming aware. So welcome to the Sacred Heart Awakenings group. I am Monica Bermudez, and I am an intuitive self-love energy healer and spiritual counselor and teacher. And I'm very passionate about men and conscious men and women of transforming their heartbreaks from a romantic relationship to be higher love and to attract healthier relationships in their life. So in today's topic for this week's message of love wisdom, I would like to talk about mind over matter and how it impacts your love life, and how scientists are proving how all of this impacts your life, our life. So I would like to dive in now with some information on that and kind of explore those areas and some of the questions that I asked in the beginning. And everything has to do with energy, with how we grow up also. For instance, when we grow up in this lifetime, talking about this lifetime, there are certain situations that we grow up with, and our parents and all the people around our lives who influence us in so many ways. They may be friends, they may not be friends, but just colleagues or even school children. So when we're growing up, we're constantly picking up all sorts of information, and as well as vibes and energy, and it all gets buried within us, within ourselves, and at times at a subconscious level that we may not even be aware of. And so then we forget about it, and we grow up with these patterns inside of us that somehow get projected from others around us. And I would say that the most influential ones are the ones who raise you, be it your parents or your guardians. They all have an influence on you in your childhood, and as well as any siblings or anybody else who may be in a household with you who grew up, and the school. For instance, if you had people pick on you when you were little, and this all just gets recorded. For instance, if you grew up with somebody telling you constantly that you can't do it or you look a certain way, then all of that can also get programmed subconsciously in some ways. So the cells and all parts of your body and everything, as what scientists are finding, is how much of energy gets recorded in us. And if you imagine, just like in this lifetime, how much can get recorded and programmed inside of us, and just imagine all the many lifetimes of being human, being incarnated into different human form, having different life experiences and situations, connecting with different kinds of people and circumstances. And we're talking about all sorts of things that may be in a war, in a battle, things that you may not even remember at the moment. But there are things that you just gravitate towards naturally that you may seem attracted to. And that's because you had some past life experience with it. So whether you believe in reincarnation or not, scientists are finding evidence of this in many case studies. And they're finding how much of that memory is recorded in us, how we bring it with us in every incarnation that we have in our lifetimes. because the soul is eternal, and yet our physical is limited and is made of matter. But guess what? That matter is made of energy. And that is what scientists are also proving as well. How much of all of this combination of us being in this physical body is being impacted by, say, our thoughts, and how we express ourselves and our feelings. And there's so much yet that scientists are uncovering, and scientists are just catching up to ancient wisdom. This wisdom has been known through all the ages of time, passed down in underground mystery schools of initiates, and not, known to the public for so many years because of the fear of the persecution. And of course, there was a lot of that in the Dark Ages, in the medieval times. So, in talking about like patterns that get programmed in us, the most common hidden patterns that I've seen in so many people, including myself, that I had to work with myself personally, the most common that I've seen that impacts the love life in so many ways is unworthiness, low self-esteem, and abandonment. And these three seem to be the core ones that mess us up in some ways, that seem to attract the unhealthy relationships in our life, unfulfilling. And it all impacts our self-love as well. And believe me, I suffer from it so much. And I've seen it with so many of my friends and family still suffering with it. And it just seems that it just keeps attracting, more of the same or similar type relationships. And so I also see how much of this, some of it comes from ancestral as well as karmic, or it may come in combination with the two. And it gets programmed in us in our subconscious level. So it's a matter of us really becoming aware of them and really trying to transmute and work with them. So I want to talk about a current documentary that I watched, and I highly recommend it. It's brand new. It just came out this year, and talking about scientific proof about mind over matter. It's called Superhuman: Making the Invisible Visible, and it's on Amazon Prime. And the one part that really left an impression on me, talking about patterns, these scientists actually found a way to measure how patterns look on the screen, like literally. And they hooked up a woman to a machine, and they had her, give or talk about some of the things that she wants in life. So she started basically almost complaining about how she wants to have a baby, but she can't because of her career. She's too busy. She doesn't know how. And it's just, she was talking about it out loud. And as she was talking about it out loud, she was hooked up to this machine. And on the screen, what was showing up was unstructured chaos. There was no structure to it. It was just amazing. And so then they asked her, well, talk about your career. Why do you love your career? So she started getting really excited, and she's got so passionate about it and describing what she does and what she loves. And the machine on the screen showed a nice, beautiful structure, and it looked like a sacred geometry, and it was so beautiful. And in most cases, I don't know if you've seen like how scientists have studied, for example, like the universe and the planets, and they make certain sounds and certain vibrations, and they produce certain sacred geometrical shapes, because that is part of being the harmony. And it shows how much impact we have on, the mind over matter, and how much we can impact our own physical form. So if the machine is picking up something with chaos and without structure, when we are talking about the things that we want to have, but in some ways it sounds like complaining for not having them, then we are also impacting ourselves. So it's just being mindful and being aware of what we're putting into our physical body and what we're creating in our environment. So I thought that those were some very great examples. And it just left me with good impressions. So it inspired me and intuitively, guided me to talk about this and how it impacts our love life. But not just the love life, of course, impacts in so many aspects of your life too. And so the other thing too, when they were measuring with the machine, is they asked her to talk about her favorite color. And so she talked about yellow as her favorite color. She kept talking about it. And as she was talking about it, the screen turned yellow, like literally just turned yellow. So that's another way of saying scientific proof that we mirror what's inside of us gets mirrored outside in the world. And so that's how they've been proving it. So I thought that was amazing. So I just really highly recommend that movie, that documentary. It was so amazing. There's so many other cases and examples in their scientific studies. It wasn't just that, but they study all forms of energy and telepathy, telekinesis. There's a school in Russia that's doing actual scientific studies, but also learning how to do telekinesis with your own mind to move objects. And that was just amazing. What science is doing now, it's like it's catching up, or it's now aligning itself with the ancient wisdom. It's like things are just coming back to the way they were in its original state, with how the ancient civilizations were once in unity with science, with art, with philosophy, and so many things, but in a harmonious way. So I highly recommend that. So what are ways then, if you wanted to shift your energy, say, from looking at things in a more uplifting way or becoming more aware of these patterns? Well, my recommendation, or the way that I did it, was to do meditation, be still in silence, and just really tune in and become more aware through your higher self and guidance to ask you what it is that you need to work with. And that's how you start to become more aware of those situations, of changing it. And I use meditation a lot for so many things. And the way that I've done meditation is, of course, for me, is two-way communication. It's about sending and receiving. So you send out your visualization of what you intend to get out of it. And then you receive, you remain still in receptivity, or as silent as possible as you can, the moment to receive the best impressions or any impression that you can get. And it may be through image, sound, or some other form of text or words. And sometimes that may not even come in a moment. So you may receive it through dreams, or when you're, say, cooking, or you're doing something somewhere else, you may get an inspirational idea. And so that's all part of what happens when you meditate. It triggers all that to really just start waking up and becoming more aware of those patterns. So I wanted to share that message, and I hope that it's beneficial for you. Just want to say, please feel free to invite others to the free public Facebook group, A Sacred Heart Awakenings, and also tune into my YouTube channel and subscribe and share with others who can benefit from these messages. And I look forward to connecting with you at another time with another love wisdom topic. I also welcome any comments you may have or questions below. I look forward to connecting with you soon. So much love to each of you.